It might be a little bit less of a pre-show than normal, but we have arrived. How's it
This is
going,
it.
Yankee?
How you doing, man?
So good.
It is. This is gonna be a good one tonight.
Dude, I am
Fun,
so
fun, fun.
excited for tonight.
I know, right?
I'm
This is
excited for tonight.
anytime we have guests on, anytime we have big reveals, it rocks, man.
Yeah, it does rock. Oh man, I've been waiting for this for so long. I feel like a lot of the other commanders were kind of building up to this,
Mm-hmm.
but there's just so much going on with gold and silver right now that we have so much to talk about. It's gonna be epic.
Yeah, the big reveal is what we're all excited about, but it is exciting to see what gold and silver are doing,
Hmm.
at least spot markets. And we were talking about that before the pre-show. Even did it hit 3,000?
It's futures for sure.
Futures did, right? But the
Absolutely.
spot
And
just
the
a
thing
hair
is, with
low.
all of the trading, usually it
Yeah.
bumps up a few times, but once it
Hmm.
breaks through, then then it's like
There's
obvious.
there's that resistance, right? It's like ooh ooh
You
ooh,
want it to
get
be
it.
obvious.
Well, I think silver made an obvious move above $33, which was a big deal. But yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
even
That
hit
was a.
34 at one point.
I know, right? Ooh. So yeah, we're going to talk a lot about silver and gold. We have some, questions to ask our guests and
Hmm.
a big reveal, but also a Q&A coming up. So we got a lot to cover in 1 hour, right?
That's true. Yeah, and so if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A there. We'll get to as many as we can tonight.
Oh,
We
they're already
really
guessing. They're guessing in the
Oh, no,
chat.
I
Look
haven't
at them.
seen anyone guess it yet. If you can
No?
guess it in the next 1 minute here, I'm still not going to tell you, but you'll know you got it right.
No.
Put in your guesses right now.
Wow. Oh man, they're all flooding in now.
Yeah, you should know in like 5 minutes.
I think SD Bullion sent out an email to people to let them know about what's coming tonight. Didn't spill the beans or spill the tea, but did say if you want to find out. So if you haven't signed up for those notifications, you really do need to do that.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be sending out a text link as well. So, yeah, you want to make sure you get on that.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, you can do it a variety of different ways. One of my favorite ways is to sign up for the sweepstakes, the monster box.
oh, then you know
That will
you're
get
in.
you. Then you know you're in, right?
All
Oh, you
right.
don't want to miss those. All right,
You
are
ready
we
for
ready?
this?
Enough of the pre-show, man.
Enough
Let's
of the
go.
pre-show. We're just gonna go. I'm gonna bring up the main screen here, and I just want to say hi, everyone. Welcome to Silver Pros Season 7. Oh my goodness, Episode 4. Tonight I'm joined
Mm.
by my awesome co-host. You all know him, Yankee Stacking. What's up, Yankee?
What up, dragons? I'm doing good. Very excited. Woo,
Yes.
it's gonna
It.
be a great night.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be such a fun night. We got some very special guests. That we'll be bringing in. And then, of course, we're going to have a fun giveaway at the end of the stream. Stay tuned for that. We'll let you know how to enter and everything a little bit later on. But I think without any further ado, would you like to bring in some real silver pros, Yankee?
Yes, let's do it. This is great. I'm happy to welcome Josh Fair, the CEO of the Scottsdale Mint, and Chase Turner, the CEO of SD Bullion. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
How are you
Good to be
guys?
back.
We're excited.
Uh,
Yeah, this is going to be great. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and it's an amazing time right now to be talking to both of you. There's so much going on in the markets, but I think a lot of people are eager to know kind of the big reveal. And
Yeah.
who are we gonna have do that, Yankee?
I don't know. We should just get this over with right
I
away,
think we
right?
need to
should
get it over with,
get it
get it
over
out,
with.
and then we could move on, right?
I, I think, is it Chase? Are you going to make the announcement?
I mean, I'm the one that gets pounded every time I go on live, so I feel like I should be
You earned it.
vindicated and at least get to do that. Yeah, I've earned it.
You
Josh,
earned it.
Josh, Josh has been over there hiding, and so we brought him out tonight so he can,
All right, let's do a
have fun.
countdown.
But
Let's do a
yeah,
countdown.
you want to?
Count it
You
down.
have the coin, right, Yankee?
I do. We're going to count it down, and then we're going to turn on our camera so you guys can see
Okay.
it.
All right. Here we go.
Ready?
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who do we got?
We have the 18th President of the United States of America, Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh my gosh! Look at that.
Whoa.
Where's the clap emojis? We need clap emojis.
Where's the clap? Let's see some claps in the chat. Did anyone guess it?
There it is.
Who guessed it in the chat? I think so. I think someone did get it, but wow,
Did
look
you
at
see
that.
Grant? Yeah, I love the hat. That is just a great profile. Of course, I'll show the reverse too.
So we have
Very
to know.
nice.
We have to know why you guys picked Grant. What was the reason?
Probably, you know, we sit back and, you know, we have a list of a number of you know, so who are some of the top commanders, and you think battlefield victories, you know, we started with Napoleon, who had the absolute most battlefield victories, and then, you know, Grant obviously turned the course of the U.S.'s history, and he was up against another fantastic battlefield general in Robert E. Lee. But at the end, you know, Grant did win, and so, you know, he was known for just clarity, decisiveness. He was not into the theater like some commanders. He just plowed ahead relentlessly with an end goal, and just dominated. And in fact, he got nicknamed the Butcher because he would not stop the pursuit of Lee's troops. So, you know, you think about those things and how it turned the course of you know, the U.S., you know, at a time, you know, pretty big time, and then he ended up becoming the president of the United States just a couple years later. And for those that don't know, that was also when Abe Lincoln was president at the time. And so, yeah, it's definitely a huge moment in U.S. history.
Yeah,
And it's a great coin. Look at that.
it's fantastic.
Chunky.
And,
You got the whole series, don't you? There.
yeah.
As Dragons. Yeah.
So this is the 5th release in the series, and you know, can I pull it up on the website, Chase? Is that okay?
Yeah. Do it.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about that. Did I go?
Yeah, how
did
do
I
people
go
get it?
dark?
Yeah, maybe your camera, but here it is on the website. Do you want to tell them how
Okay.
they could get it, Chase, if they want to order?
Yeah. So it's not officially open to the public yet.
Oh.
Really? Even,
Oh, come on.
should I not be showing this?
Oh,
This is like
no.
ultimate
No,
sneak peek.
Yeah. It's
That's a
only
tease.
it's only the people that are on this video. So that's why, you know, we sent out an email and said, hey, if you're interested to see who the next commander is and you want the ability to buy before anybody else, then join Silver Pros, and you're gonna find out tonight. So last time we did this, we used a URL called Secret. This time it's pretty straightforward, but if you go to sdbullion.com/grant, GRANT, that will be the only place until Monday that you can find these on our website. And, you know, the only way you're going to get that URL is on this video. So
early
there
buyers.
you go.
Don't tell anybody that's not on this live stream watching.
Yeah, and maybe we can have a mod put it in. But yeah, sdbullion.com/grant, and you can get these early. They look absolutely fantastic, and you can get the poster as well. Should we talk about the poster a little bit?
Yeah, that's why I was hoping my video would come, but you guys can show it off, right? And then Josh can talk about it. And we forgot to mention we're gonna give some of these away tonight too. So make sure you stick around. We're giving away the poster. We're giving away the 5-ounce silver coins. We should also talk about the Certicards, right? The 10th ounce gold that got upgraded into the Certilocks Certicards that are exclusive to Scottsdale Mint. So we could talk about that. But yeah, if you guys want to show off the poster, and Josh was telling us some cool things about it before the call, so I'm sure everybody would love to hear that.
Yeah. So what are some of the notable things here?
Yeah. So actually, I went to the designer of the poster and I kind of walked through. So I'm going to actually, instead of me trying to repeat it, I'm going to actually take his words. So the ceremonial sword that you see is actually the sword that was produced for him at a great cost. It was very expensive. It was done after. So a very important sword. The scene is actually the siege of Vicksburg, Mississippi, which was it was probably his biggest battle. We also blended in the surrender tree. So if we can ever get the picture up of it, you'll see there's a little bit of the tree hanging into the poster. That's where the famous meeting that led to the Vicksburg surrender, and that was with General Pemberton, and that was on July 4th. actually. So
Wow.
a different reason for July 4th. We also have the Seacoast mortars. One of them was a 13-inch. At the time, it was pretty beastly. Apparently, for the time, they called it the Dictator. The Union troops used them to rain down shells on the Vicksburg defenses. Grant's horse is also in it, his name is Cincinnati, who apparently was the finest horse in all of the Union Army, not surprisingly. He loved the horse so much he didn't let anyone else ride it except Abe Lincoln himself.
Oh man.
So you see in the poster, it's the Mississippi River, the gunboats. This was a huge time where it split the Confederacy into two and gave the Union control of the entire Mississippi River. So it was a big time, and the vibe of the poster is definitely, it has kind of a Southern Americana vibe at that time, even the coloring and stuff, to feel like it had the setting of the Civil War time. So yeah, we wanted something that felt vintage for the period, and we did these movie posters when we first launched the Napoleon, not knowing are people going to want these, and it's been really surprisingly and exciting to see how much people enjoy getting a poster. Just something that it's just it's maybe not for everyone, but for those that kind of want to celebrate the coins, and then also read back and look through history. I think that's kind of the fun part about some of these commanders that we're doing.
Yeah, the 5th in the series. I do love the poster, and I was able to show it on YouTube, so that was good.
Okay, great, good.
So that yeah, I know it wasn't in the Zoom, but such a cool a poster to have in the collection. There's one for all 5 of them, correct? So people are collecting the posters as well.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, there's a lot of effort that goes into these posters to make them, not only fun, but to have some historical references in it too, and it kind of makes it a little more fun. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. We're excited to get this launched with you guys.
Yeah. So again, it's available right now before anyone else can get it. It's exclusive to this live stream. sdbullion.com/grant. And you can find the gold and the silver as well, and the posters. Can we talk about the mintage? Is this the same as the other ones? 2,000 for the 10th ounce, 500 for the 1 ounce gold, and $49.99 for the silver. Is that right, Josh?
Pretty sure. I don't think we changed anything. So if I'm wrong, don't hang me. But I believe that's correct, and it'll definitely be on the listing of the exact mintages. For sure. So perhaps something may have changed, but that does sound correct to me.
Yeah, well, that will be updated on. Yeah, definitely will be up on the descriptions. The other things that we should point out, and sorry, I'm having technical difficulties here, but I was texting my guys beforehand. So as we kind of always talk about with Scottsdale Mint, if we go back and listen to the last call, we had this progression of where the strikes get better and better. And so on the graded, so we do have, MS70, perfect 70s available as well of Grant. And so I just want to throw this out there because, it's a pretty amazing statistic here. So on the 5 ounce silver that we sent to grade, 88% of them came back as 70s.
Wow, that's insane.
Almost 9 out of 10.
And for that size of real estate, for those that
big.
don't know, it's incredibly hard to hit that kind of ratio. So, and
well, how's the 10th ounce gold? Is that also equally as hard because of how small it is? And that came back at like 80%.
Yeah. Small. So it's almost like as you go larger, right, there's more room for air. But then as you get really small, that also can be very difficult as well for a lot of different reasons. So, that's why, let's just say a traditional 1 ounce at a 39 millimeter is a little bit easier just to manage. It's the right diameter and everything. So as you get smaller, as you get bigger from there, it does get a little more tricky.
So we mentioned again, fifth commander.
Yes.
Has it been getting a little easier for you to now that you've run through this? Is this like, oh yeah, we got this now, or are you still learning stuff for every time you go through one of these?
Little bit of both, right? I think, my company's now we're in our 17th year now. And we're actually, these are all being produced in Wyoming now. So some of our some of our stuff originally was produced in Arizona, and so now our facility, our operation has all consolidated up into our new factory here in Wyoming. So that's where I'm calling from right now. So I think a blend of the team, the operation, and I think the skill level and the talent. I'm really blessed to have just an amazing team from the designers to the die creators to the operators. All the way through, and people don't even realize the effort that goes in and make sure that things don't scratch and everything, and things happen, right? And I think if you've done any business, either through on our products through SD Bullion, we try to do our best to stand behind it and make it right. But I think this size was, I think, a year ago. This was the first 5-ounce product, and this is a 65 millimeter product. So it was a first ever from our company. So I would say a year later, we're just getting better and better and better for sure. So very, very excited.
So people in the chat are asking, how do I order a Grant coin? You want to repeat it again?
Yeah.
That special URL for
that's
Silver
right.
Pros?
sdbullion.com/grant. That's how you're going to find them. And we're just finding out about this live too. So, but there you go. Tuli, great moderator. She went ahead and put it in the chat. So there you go. Click on that link and you can buy them now. And real quick, I just wanted to mention, Josh, the Rifleman.
Yeah.
We didn't even really. I mean, we didn't do a special episode on it or anything, but it is fantastic. Really great addition to the Cowboy series, I guess, right?
Yeah, I was gonna call that out since it was on your screen. Yeah, we might as well talk about it a little bit because we didn't get the chance to do it.
Yeah. So, and there's a 5-ounce now. Are you gonna do a 5-ounce of the Cowboy as well?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes!
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So we decided, I mean, the Cowboy I would say for a round is rivaling, I'd say, entire coin programs from countries. And it's been amazing. And SD Bullion's done a wonderful job over the last, more than a year and a half now, 2 years. I can't. It's been awesome. So that we're going to continue on. That's kind of the OG, right? The bucking Bronco. We're gonna continue rocking with that. But we wanted to kind of, that's our core, and then we'll come out with, through the years, we'll come out with others that are available. So the Rifleman's kind of the next step in there. It is exclusive with SD Bullion here for quite some time actually. So very much excited to launch that. Has a similar feel, similar vibe, but it's got a cowboy riding a horse, and he's working a lever action. So
I literally just opened up a tube of them right now that I got from SD Bullion. I've been waiting for this last.
Those are
week.
beautiful.
There it is.
And you don't really see silver rounds that look like this out of a tube. They are just next level. Again, I think I've got an amazing team and that we put into effort and try to make things just a little more fun. I mean, it is called precious metals, and sometimes the silver and gold, I realize it doesn't necessarily change the intrinsic value of it, but there is something about these things that are just like, they might be the last things you ever want to sell or give away in your collection, and it might be even decades later.
There it is. And I'm just going to show it on the website. And we broke it here live, everyone. There is going to be a 5-ounce Cowboy. I am so excited about that. I'm kind of geeking out right now.
Gotta get it.
So, yeah, that's
and I've already seen, let's say some of the sneak previews of it we're pretty jazzed about it for sure.
There you go. All right. Well, we unveiled the grant. We didn't mention, though, that the giveaway tonight is going to be 2 of the 5-ounce silver grant. Ooh. And as well as a poster. So stay tuned. Yankee, can you explain how people can enter the giveaway at the end of the night here?
Absolutely. I'm going to be starting to grab all the participants in the chat. Going to harvest them. In fact, I'm going to kick it off right now. So if you want to get entered, all you got to do is put something in the chat. And it doesn't need to be the word something. Anything at all. Just put it in. They always do that. Put it in the chat. I will grab all those names, put them on the wheel of names, and we'll spin it, 3 times?
3. We'll do 3 spins. There'll be 3 winners tonight, 1 poster and 2 of the 5-ounce silver. So, yeah.
And it's open to U.S. mailing addresses only.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, stay tuned for that. And we do have what I think is probably one of the best things that we do is the live Q&A. Is there anything else, Josh or Chase, you'd like to mention about the grant?
I think that was kind of at a high level for me. The only, you know, I had an interesting quote from Abe Lincoln, though. He says, "Can't spare this man. He fights." And I thought that was an interesting quote, because a lot of times, you know, military guys just maybe sit in the back, right? They're not on the field. And apparently Abe's point, I think, on this was that this guy is too important, but yet he is in it. He's in the thick of it. So definitely interesting, you know, to hear that point. And obviously he also fought in the Mexican-American War from, you know, about almost 18, 20 years prior to that. So that's where he kind of went up the ranks and kind of earned some of his original stripes.
Dragons, I'm not sure if you mentioned it. This is their first American commander, correct?
Second.
I
was going to say that.
Wait,
yeah, it is the second.
Oh, Patton. I'm sorry. You're right. Patton, number 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But first president.
Number 2.
First president.
President. Thank you. Yes, first president. Will it be the last? Who knows? Okay. Well, we'll be happy with Grant. If you don't have one, get one. They're going to be gone fast, I'm sure. These are fun to collect and absolutely beautiful. Well done, Scottsdale Mint.
Yeah, great job. I did open up another Q&A here. I was having a little Yankee had a little bit of a technical thing with his Q&A a while back.
I did. Are you having that same problem?
Might be. YouTube is throttling the silver creators right now. I don't know why. It is working. Okay, great.
It is.
So
okay,
go ahead now and put your questions in the new Q&A, and we will go ahead and and we'll put them to both Josh or Chase. You can say one or the other. And we do have the first one here from Cody. He says, "Good time to buy silver even though it's high." Oh, interesting. What do you think about that one?
Yeah. We probably both have opinion. Hey, I got a question. My thing is telling me to close my browser and rejoin the meeting. Will that mess anything up?
No.
No. Go ahead and give it a shot.
Well, all right, I'll do that, and Josh can knock that one down.
I'll try to roll with it. No, this is what's kind of interesting. The retail market's been fairly quiet for about a year and a half, but yet gold is going up, right? It's hitting all-time highs. So who's buying it? It's not consumers. It's the central banks. It's the governments, and they are loading up. They're deleveraging their own balance sheets, and so they have printed so much fiat, right? They have so much debt that they're now needing to raise the gold reserves. And so you're seeing expatriation of the U.S. Gold, perhaps. So much is being flown here, right, that it's causing problems in London, the Bank of England, delays, and there's been a lot of gold shortages around. But what we're also starting to hear about is also silver's doing the same thing. It's been coming over here pretty much like mad as well. So the question is if you think it's too high versus what? And you look at homes, you look at the S&P 500, and I put on my X account just earlier that silver just broke out against the S&P, and that's a multi-year breakout. So I think if we start looking at ratios, you know, where should gold and silver be? And you start, I don't even want to say where I think the metals will be by the end of this decade, because people probably won't believe me. And it's really not conspiratorial, but it's ratios. It's ratios of debt. Yeah. And so right now the central banks are literally, it's all about how many dollars do you have outstanding, how much debt, and how much gold. And if you have too much of one and not of the other, right, that ratio has to move either by getting more gold or also the price going up. And so I think we're starting to see that from the central bank. So the ratio of gold to silver is about 89, 90 to 1, somewhere around in there. And historically, right, we've seen that even in just modern times. We've seen that maybe in the 70s. If we go back in further time, 40 to 1, 20 to 1. Some might even say the historical might even be 15 to 1.
2011, yeah. Well, you know, they're pulling it out of the ground at 7 to 1. Right. So how does that work? You know, how are we in a 5-year silver deficit We pulled out of the ground 7-1, and we're still at 88 gold to silver ratio. So yeah, the math doesn't work. So and Josh, something that you said about people won't believe you. I heard Rick Rule say the other day, $25,000 an ounce gold does sound kind of, I guess, crazy if you will, but he's like, it's already 10x once. It went from 250 to 2,500. So it's just kind of factual that, to 10x go to 25,000 just is what it is. And the other thing, the original question was saying, with silver being up, look, silver's touched 50 twice. I was in the business when it did it the last time. So to me, I see gold set an all-time high, up and to the right, and I'm still looking at silver going, oh, we haven't gotten started. Like I wish I would have bought more at $12 and $18 like everybody else did, like everybody else does. But yeah, I mean, $33 is still, we're not even close to what silver's done in the past, right? And in 2011, it did reach a $40 GSR, somewhere very close to that. So, just do that math right there. Silver's still cheap, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead, Yankee.
Go ahead. No, I just didn't want to. Josh, you have a great X account. I showed it briefly up on the screen, and you're killing it on that, man. I really enjoy the art.
How many followers he's got now? 33,000. Nice.
I've been on a whopping 6 weeks. So
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow. You called out this. I want to call out what you mentioned. Silver. This is Silver Pros now. Silver just broke out of a 5-year downtrend versus the S&P 500. Huge for the bull case. We brought that up again. That is a breakout, guys, and that is impressive. Getting above 33, that was a resistance we've been watching for a while. We're over it. We hit 34, I believe. This could be the beginning of something huge with silver. So we've been talking about this for a while, and we're excited.
I think it is the beginning of something big, and I'm going to show on the YouTube screen here real briefly silver price, and I just mentioned we hit a high for the year today. So silver, right around $34 an ounce. I got to mention gold. It is just a hair under $3,000 an ounce. And I've seen a lot of people in the chat, sort of asking, what's gonna are we gonna see $3,000 gold this week, tomorrow? Is this like this psychological barrier that it can't break through, or will it? What are your guys' take on that?
Chase, you want to go first on this one?
It seems like a no-brainer. Yeah. I mean, Josh and I talked before the call. We haven't got to catch up. Unfortunately, we've been both pretty busy, but I don't see what's going to slow it down. I mean, can anybody point to anything that's going on right now? And then we talked about, look, not trying to get political, but it's very unpredictable at the top right now, and unpredictability is good. And it's not just that, because you're asking about gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dragons.
Yep.
It's not just that. I was talking to Tyler this morning too, and you look at the worldwide demand for gold is not going to slow down, not just from the actual central banks themselves, but look at the retail public in China and India and in Russia. These things aren't going to stop. So the demand for gold is going to keep going up. And I have a really good friend that's really deep into this stuff, and he had a really interesting point that he was bringing up. He said, look, Trump's objective, he needs to weaken the dollar to meet his objectives, right? And he said, if you're any of these other countries who have been exporting and living off that export to the U.S. for years, well, the only way that you're going to be able to survive is you're going to have to weaken your dollar too. And so as they're weakening the dollar, their only counter to that for their reserves and everything is they're also going to have to buy more gold. And thought that's actually a pretty interesting use case there. So, I can't see anything that says the demand for gold is going to slow down. And if that's the case, then 3,000, it's just a passing point at this point.
Well, we do have a Fed meeting next week, and Trump has only been in office a little bit, and things are volatile, right? The stock market is extremely volatile. It does seem like someone put a phone call in and said, hey, the Chinese, we want your money out of the NASDAQ. And so a lot of capital is fleeing the world. and it's moving jurisdictions. So you're seeing the gold move, right? Capital is leaving the banking system in some areas. So you're seeing some huge liquidity issues in normal markets. So the VIX index obviously has spiked over the last few weeks. You know, and is it possible that you could even see like a contagion scenario? Now, oftentimes when you see that, everything goes down, and sometimes even during a time of crisis, let's say COVID, right? Gold and silver did get whacked down, and then it recovered, and then it went on to new highs. So something like that is always possible, some kind of black swan that's out there. But what's interesting, it seems like this time around, when people are typically going to cash, they're actually going to gold. And this is so, you know, and people say that there might even been a potential, a special, an accord that took place when Trump was in Saudi Arabia that basically says, hey, you got to take down oil, but but everyone will do gold and we'll bring it up. And so they're talking to countries that have a lot of gold. And perhaps the United States does now as well, with everything that's been going on the last. So, you know, we don't know what's going on, but we're trying to put a number of things kind of out there, and you move the pieces of the puzzle to see what's going on. So I would say volatility will exist. You could see, you know, ramp ups, ramp downs, but you know what hasn't truly hit the market yet, and that's the retail market. And I think we've seen, and I think Chase, you could probably agree with me, just it's starting to bubble. You know, if we had probably a year and a half of a pretty slow market, most consumers were selling precious metals. They're going, hey, these prices are high. It has sort of flipped the last 2-3 weeks where the sellbacks have almost died. And so like secondary coins on the market are going poof, goodbye. So premiums have shifted on like a backdate eagle at the wholesale level, like $90 a coin. So now, you know, the 25s are selling. So you're going to see the U.S. Mint is going to have to chew down more gold and silver. And so you're going to see as the consumers start to get back into the game at the same time that the banks are clamoring for it, or perhaps governments are clamoring for it, we could see some fireworks here in terms of supply, crunches, delays, those types of things. And this could be an exciting year ahead.
Can I give my 2 cents on this? Oh, sorry.
No, sorry. And Josh, you might know more about this than me, but especially with the refineries backed up.
Yep.
Maybe right now they can't process on time, you know, and those are the things that usually lead to those short-term shortages that become issues on the retail side, at least.
I see a series of tailwinds for precious metals that we haven't seen in a long time. We've seen an incredible shift in policy around tariffs that have really spooked the markets. And I don't know if Trump knows what he's doing completely. Sometimes we get to trust him, but honestly, I think from a tactical standpoint, it makes sense. From an overall strategy, I wonder about it. I think it could hurt. It's causing a fear of recession. We've got a government shutdown looming. And that always happens, right? It always looms, and then they get things, you know, figured out. But with the contentiousness in D.C., it might actually take a little while to have it actually flesh out. And finally, Russia. They just rebuffed the ceasefire offer today, and they're saying no. They're putting forth unbelievable, ridiculous demands. That again adds a lot of geopolitical uncertainty that I think is a tailwind for gold, especially. I see you seeing all that. And then if we do have a recession, which by the way, probably started back years ago, right?
At least.
At least, right? Now, of course, the MSM is going to be touting it's a Trump recession. But be that as it may, if we actually do have one, I think the reaction to that is what's going to give rocket fuel to gold and silver. If they go back to rate cuts or ZERP, if they have to go to QE and start the money printing back up, and I think Trump would be willing to do anything in order to get that back primed. So that would be insane. Gold would take off, silver would outperform, I guess, in that scenario. That's my thoughts.
I actually posted on X maybe about maybe a week ago that a report came out from one of the banks, and so we've been in quantitative tightening, which means they're bringing in that liquidity, and they're saying that could potentially end by late spring. So you're starting to see, look, they want those interest rates down, right?
Need them
and
down.
So you're causing some. How do you do that? You have an economic slowdown, and so today, right, this week, you've seen a lot of things hurting the market. Inflation came in a little less than expected. So this is kind of setting the table for Powell to possibly cut rates. And perhaps we have some big problems that are going to require perhaps a stimulus check in the mail, but they may call it a tax refund, remember, because they may have charged us too much. So no one's going to turn that away, right? Think like cash for clunkers programs. It's just another way of say, here's a stimmy. What are stimuluses? This is juicing the economy, so it's creating liquidity. So you're going to start to see, this start to happen. So they're trying to rein it in, cause a problem, and then they're gonna invest in the United States infrastructure. They're going to start spending again. So yeah, I think this is going to be a wild next 4 years of Trump.
You mentioned QT. That is exactly, I'm showing that chart right now. If you want to bring it up, you can see the balance sheet for the Fed as it is expanded and it dips a little, and then it really shot up and during COVID. And now see how they've been really trying to ease up on the balance sheet. This is in preparation, I think, for a leg up that we have never seen before, the mother of all quantitative easing that could happen.
Is this the helicopter money?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. You notice how it grows every time it needs more stimulus.
That's amazing.
More for the balance sheet to grow in order to stem the tide. So that's a fascinating one for me.
We have like a million questions, and we're going to rapid fire a bunch of kind of these easy ones. Okay. But before, we got a big one here from Stephen Terrell. He says, "Will gold be revalued?" I think he's talking about at Fort Knox, it's like what, $42 or something. Could they revalue it to 3,000 and then essentially put a price floor? What do you guys think about that?
I'm going to pass that on. I'm going to pass on that one.
Do you want to tackle it, Josh?
Sure. Anything's possible. But what we're really talking about, for those who don't know, the U.S. government marks the value of gold at what I forget. And was it $42 or $44?
Yeah, something like very low.
It's ridiculous. So then you have all this gold. And so when central banks around the world are valuing, let's say in an economy, they look at things like GDP, but then there's these risk ratios of gold holdings. And so it's basically balance sheet. So in accounting, there's something called mark to model or mark to market. Well, if you're a publicly traded company, you can't have an internal model that says something is worth way more or way less than it really is. You're having to mark to market. And so most people know that gold's not worth sub $50 an ounce, right? It's almost 3,000. So if they just went to a mark to market, right, it suddenly is going to surge that balance sheet of the value of gold. But people already know it's there. Could they just fix the price of gold? Here's the tough thing. While the U.S. is perhaps reportedly the largest holder of gold in the world, there are some major other players. And I don't know if you can just set the price when it's really a worldwide market. So, I mean, they could underpin, they can do something, they can do a gold-backed bond, they could add it to the balance sheets of the sovereign wealth fund. I mean, there's a lot that could happen, and I don't know how this is all going to go down. And some people think it's imminent, it's going to happen tomorrow. This is a journey. I think this is the Great Reset, a monetary reset that's going to probably continue this decade. So is it by 2028, by 30, by 32? Think of this as like, it's not going to be, I personally don't think it's going to be an overnight thing. Those that are, you might get your hopes crushed. Just like the Wall Street bets, people were thinking that silver was going to, go to overnight. Frankly, if they were to try to do that right now, I'm not suggesting anyone do that. However, if the consumers all came in, were buying silver at the same time the banks are trying to get it and can't and delayed, I'll let you figure out what would probably happen.
All right. Yankee?
Let me see.
I don't know if we want to go through. There's a bunch about the
More
commanders. There was 4 commanders in 2024. There's 2 now for 2025. Is there just going to be one more this year? Is that the plan?
Well, there'll be, so they're it's almost like, was it cars that come out early? So there's 3 coins a year. So there'll be one more 2025 this year, and then the 2026 will go out at the end of 2025.
All right.
Yes.
Also, people asking about, will there be a display case for the commanders?
The answer is most likely.
Okay.
And then they're asking about, are they ever going to be numbered on the silver? The gold are numbered on the
on a Certilock.
The Certilock, yeah. Is there a plan for that with the silver?
It's not currently in the plans, no.
Not current in the plans, but we'd love to hear people's feedback. So if
Yeah.
there's things that we could ever do, as we talk about it, sometimes we do put serial numbers on coins. Sometimes we don't. Yeah, on the gold we do. So it has the mintage number that you have on there.
Right.
So
I think that's 17.
it's a little easier to do that on the gold because of the packaging. It gets a little trickier. It gets trickier on the silver. Even getting these capsules protect the coin, but then you got to protect the capsule. And it's just
True.
it is very, and this stuff is heavy. The post office or FedEx or UPS, they're not gentle, and so it is very difficult to produce stuff with, especially as it gets heavy. But thank you for the ideas, and we'll definitely take into consideration.
Yeah.
Here's another question: why the change from Liberia to Samoa? I think we've had that before. Why'd you change it?
That's a good question. So perhaps, like commanders were moving around the world a little bit. So we had the African continent. We were in the Pacific. Who knows where we'll be in the future. So we've just kind of been mixing it up a little bit.
Here you go.
Here's another one. Where do you get most of your silver from?
Ooh, that's a good question.
24 or 25?
That's a great question back. Last year, where were you getting it?
Last year, Mexico, Poland, and Korea. For me, were probably some of our bigger markets. This year, it's been the opposite. So if you're an LBMA refinery, there is a huge premium to the tune. Like I'll tell you guys, the last 3 months, the extra premium on raw material over the average has been from 40 cents to $1.15 over the normal price. So it's hard to produce things at the prices that Chase is needing to service you guys at the lowest rate. So we scour the entire globe to still find very high quality, high purity product. I would call those tier 2 players. So a lot has come out of, let's say, like Peru or Chile. They're still it's fantastic quality material. We've also bought back insane quantities of IRA silver and gold. Just a few weeks ago, we were melting down gold maple leafs. So in the United States, because you guys didn't want them and the banks took it. So
Wow.
the banks are sucking in all your guys' coins and bars over the last year. And then they send it to a refinery, they melt it down and turn it into their deliverable product, and it goes to the banks, it goes onto the Homex. Now it's starting to change, and that melt product's gone. So instead of getting that vast quantity of melt back product, we're having to hunt down material that's not subject to the tariff risk. So stuff is not coming in from Mexico right now. And Peñoles is one of the biggest refineries really in the world, but they supply roughly 50% of the United States' silver needs. So everyone right now is clamoring for material, and it is tough. So the good news is we've been able to find it. We've been able to work with it. And this is why I say if people were to get very active on the buy side, it could be a wild ride to see like where does the real price fit. So if we go back to COVID, right, the retail prices were quite high because it was hard to produce product and get it out. So supply demand equation, right? And now we're seeing the retail product is actually cheaper. You've probably been able to buy silver cheaper on SD Bullion's website than the banks have been able to, because the products that are going to the bank are the 1,000-ounce bars. And that stuff was selling at a bank level, and you're doing multi-million-dollar, hundreds of millions of dollars of trades are $1 something an ounce. Are you kidding me? Whereas, Coal and Chase have been doing 99-cent specials just, over the last number of weeks. Now those, because of it's getting a little tighter, just in the last two weeks, it's changing. So I would say is hold on to your metals. This is wealth creation as opposed to just profit taking. And I think this is going to be a very interesting time going forward.
Yeah, you brought up a good point there. Going back to the guy's original first question about, the price, should I buy now? Is the price too high? There's two prices to get physical. There's the spot price and the premium. And as we've seen, Josh has outlined, it's the first time I've heard that, where 50% of the silver is coming from Mexico. And the scenarios that we're in now with LBMA and silver, look, if silver runs into a shortage, I mean, retailers were selling Silver Eagles at $30 over spot not that long ago. Bars at $6 over spot. We just came out of a window where premiums were super, super cheap, as cheap as we've seen them ever in the history, as long as I've been doing it for 15 years. That's changing really quickly. So, if premiums go back up to $5 or $6 an ounce, which can very well happen in the scenario Josh is painting that's going on right now in the underbelly of our market. Now you're looking at $42, $43 silver. The time to buy is always, now, before things like that. I would never recommend $30 over spot Silver Eagles. Didn't back then. I wouldn't in the future. But premiums are changing, and that impacts physical. And people don't think about premiums as much as they should. Doing this for so long and seeing the premium deltas change over time, you've got to really factor that in to your metal buying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this has been there was news reports like the Korea Mint stopped selling gold and silver there for a while, and why? And a lot of people didn't cover the why. I'll tell you why. The banks were taking it all out of the LBMA COMEX deliverable product. It's called Korea Zinc. It's a zinc refinery that also does a lot of precious metals, and so all that metal was going at a higher price than what the mint could sell it in Korea. So they couldn't compete with the price for the raw material. It was all coming to the United States. And this was happening in every market. And it's still going on right now. Yeah. So this is why there's such a supply constraint. It is getting a little tougher for us to keep hunting down the material. It's my job, and I've got a risk management background. It's my job to make sure that we've got that steady supply. But it's not always easy. We went through the COVID period, which was a heck of a time. And there were massive delays, and we never failed to deliver on a single ounce of anything. And although it was delayed, and so right now we're able to keep up, but there's definitely signs that tightness is starting to creep in.
Okay, we have a question about the gold-silver ratio. This one is coming from Vote for Pedro. He's a great member of the community.
Pedro.
So he says, I was hoping to trade a good portion of my silver for gold, but the ratio is ridiculous right now. Do you see the gold-silver ratio getting back into the 60s anytime soon? Maybe we'll start with Chase. What do you think?
No idea. I really do hope so. I'm on the opposite. I'm either selling my gold to buy. I'm kind of in this silver mode right now because of that fact right there. And as we saw the last time gold ran in 2011, what silver did. So what I'm doing with my own money, which is, it's up to you with you, but I'm kind of focused on really hoping and thinking that silver is going to make a good run. And then I would, at that point, convert back into gold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got down in the COVID year. It got down into the 60s. So, yeah, just sub 70. Right now, we're at 88.35. So, which is definitely kind of the higher end of the zone right now. So, technically speaking, if you're just looking at this, silver's is probably a little bit better buy here. But again, I kind of say is sometimes following in the footsteps of the giants isn't a bad thing. Obviously, gold is a strictly monetary metal. And doesn't really have too much of an industrial component. So the central banks are driving that. And I think, silver is an industrial metal primarily with a historical monetary component. But I think, you saw Russia put out a draft report for 2025 for their budget to possibly add silver to their balance sheets. What in the world would happen if the other BRICS nations said, hey, what's going on? We're going to add not only gold, but silver to our balance sheets. There's not enough metal in the world for this. So you've had single people. You had the Hunt brothers attempted to corner and did it so successfully in 1980. You had George Soros in the early 90s. In the late 90s, you had Warren Buffett. Each time they got a knock on the door and said, you can't do that and you got to sell it. So, could a country come in and do this? And clearly silver's a critical mineral for military applications, for AI, for all the new green tech, everything that's going on. So they do not want silver in the hands of the people. That's just sitting in your safe or your vault. So yeah, it could definitely be a very interesting time to acquire the metal. But that said, it's almost like a ratio. It seems like depends on how much money you're getting into it. It's just you can kind of your ratios could depend on your age. because the volatility of each metal is also a little different. So you get more alpha to the upside and the downside with silver historically. So it just there's no right or wrong. It's just kind of your stage of life or your needs.
Josh, I have a couple what ifs. Two people asking questions about what if about Fort Knox. We heard a lot about it. We got psyched. We dropped videos, both Dragons and I, and we're like, wait a minute. When is it going to happen? The question is this: what will happen to gold spot price if the inventory at Fort Knox is found to belong to third parties and not the Federal Reserve after the audit? And what if they find missing gold at Fort Knox? What happens?
My opinion, skyrockets.
Yeah, your opinion, it skyrockets.
My opinion, it skyrockets because they're gonna have to go out to the market and buy it, right?
Which they may be already doing.
Let's say they open it up and it is out there. I think it also goes up. I made a call that I think we are entering a gold renaissance, and because for the first time, I mean, those watching us right now, you're in the tiny percent of the tiny percent. We know for sure it's in the single digits percentage-wise that own physical gold and silver in the United States. Yeah. And if we really want to whittle it down, it could be on the lower end of that. So if people are hearing that Elon Musk is talking about gold and Trump is talking about gold, he's talking about it being a golden age. It's a little bit of, it's like mimetic action here. I think people are saying, wait a minute, we're not on a gold standard. And you're right, we're not. But we're just outside of 50 years of this experience of being off of it completely. Yeah. And we're finding out that, guess what? Gold is important and it is on the balance sheets. So what does this mean? So I see this as it's a kind of it could be an epic time. We're seeing this in other markets around the world. India and China are the videos. You've seen the videos of the malls, people scrambling like when they open up. It's like it's nutso. And why is that?
Yeah.
They don't trust the government institutions, the banking institutions, and in the United States we haven't really had, historically we've not had issues. Well, again, why is everyone buying it? So that's my take on what could happen. In both scenarios, I'm bullish because it was on Tucker Carlson. Luke Gromen was on Tucker Carlson just 2 weeks ago talking about gold. When does that happen? Maybe one day one of us gets on Joe Rogan and starts talking about what's going on with the market. I mean, it sounds crazy, but maybe not.
Yeah, and we do have one here for Chase. This is actually a really good question. So they ask, can you explain how the sell to us feature works? Is it only for coins/bullion we've bought from SD Bullion, or can it be anything? Do you want to briefly mention, Chase?
Yeah, sure. It's almost as easy as buying from us. We'll buy anything, gold or silver, coins, bars, rounds, whatever it is. You just call, lock a price. We have different levels. If you want us to help you ship the metals in, we have options for that. But yeah, we lock the price as soon as we get it. We're obviously going to verify it and test it, and then we send money electronically.
All right, Yankee.
I just told the chat, don't sell your metals.
Yeah, don't sell
unless you have to. And SD Bullion's a great place. All right. So, man, how much time do we have left? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Can I sneak in a question again that goes back to Josh's X account? Dude, I am really enjoying this account. If you like X, if you want to be able to, follow Josh, please do, because he's got some great stuff in here. And one of them is this. The CBDC, you reposted the EU. So could you give me the whole thing that Christine Lagarde is doing, the president of the European Central Bank? She announced that the EU plans to launch the digital euro CBDC by October. And if I heard her right, if you listen to her all the way to the end, it's not just a wholesale CBDC, but a retail one. Isn't that right, Josh?
Yeah, and I think my comment was Europe continues to go down a very treacherous path. And I think, Trump has come out and said, a lot of people don't realize a central bank digital currency is not the government. That's someone who's in control of your money supply, that's not needing to follow the rules and regulations and the freedoms of your country. And so if they can bypass a bank or the government and go directly to you, they can change anything. They can this is the police state.
Crazy.
This is the
Yeah.
Chinese model. This is
But they're announcing it. I mean,
well,
they hinted at it for a while now, but now they're giving a date, October.
Well, they're given a date, and I think who is Trump tussling with the most right now?
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't JD already try to tell them?
and then if we actually start looking at the Canada conflict, that's the trade one. Who did they just install as the new prime minister? A World Economic Forum Davos guy from the Bank of England, right? This was not voted on by the people. So we saw during COVID, like the Australias and Canadas of the world and New Zealand's of the world weren't maybe the best, most free countries. And so it feels like they're more connected to Davos/Brussels than their own people, their own country. And I think you're seeing this is a potential separation of interest where maybe the U.S. is saying, you know what, guys, good luck with Europe. And now, Europe is going to have to print trillions of dollars for their own defense. Now, there's other implications on all this. So it's pretty wild. This is pretty wild.
There was a lot of questions about the grant, which we talked about quite a bit earlier, but we're unfortunately going to have to wrap up here in a little bit. So I just want to briefly mention once again, if you want to check them out, it's exclusive to this live stream. It is sdbullion.com/grant, and you can pick these up before everyone else. So feel free to check those out if you like. And I will say, someone mentioned that the first two were MS70s, Mint State, and the last three are PL or Proof-like, and that's because of the new finish, right?
Right.
That's because we altered not only the finish but the rim design, and so we entered it into a new category. That's correct.
Very cool.
Yeah, but you could get.
And I don't
70.
think the prices have changed. So I'd say the care and quality. Not that the first ones are pretty rock star for what they were anyway, and it was just a different style. But yeah, the last couple is definitely quite awesome.
Okay, people, if you want it, how do they enter the giveaway? Can we tell them real quick, Yankee?
Yeah,
because we're gonna have to get to it. But can you repeat it?
I know we have 3 spins of the wheel coming up, guys.
Gosh.
If you want to get in, you obviously have to be a subscriber to Silver Dragons, which I assume you are. Dude, you have quite a lot of subscribers. You're growing wonderfully.
It's a great community. Thank you so much.
It is, isn't it? But yeah, subscribe and put something in the chat, okay? Anything you want. I'm harvesting names pretty soon, and we'll put them on the wheel of names, and then we'll spin 3 times. We've got 3 winners tonight coming up.
And
this is good.
Josh, they are asking about the Galaxy bars. Every time we have you on, they want to know. Are they coming back?
If I could bring you into the vault, I could show you some, and your jaw would drop. We have been trying to figure out how to recreate that again, and it hasn't happened again. And we made a lot of it at the time, and so it's like a historical museum piece right now. And the difficulty thing is that this surface is so fragile that if you were to potentially even touch it in shipping, just the pressure, it mutes kind of the brilliance, the beauty of it. But in person, it is really wild. So we're literally been working with a number of metallurgists and a few others just to be like, hey, what was it? A mix of just super, super high purity, the right cooling effects. It was a negative day here in Wyoming, and our full HVAC system wasn't running, and maybe the walls were frozen and the barometric pressures, or who knows what maybe happened. But maybe one day we'll bring it out. We've kind of kept it. I feel like if we just put it on an auction site for 99 cents, I'm afraid of what it would actually sell for. It'd be pretty epic. I think there's like the wait list. You don't even want to know on that product. So we unfortunately there's just not, we weren't able to create enough of it yet. That said, we'll see.
Stay tuned.
We'll see. Stay tuned.
I think we're going to wrap up. You can shut down the Q&A section if you want, Dragons. There was a question about silver. Is it going to hit 100 this year? Why don't we end it on a fun prediction? We do this occasionally. I don't know if we've done it with Josh. Josh, give us your silver prediction for the how do you want to do it?
We could do year or decade. I mean,
okay, for the year.
Maybe
what
do
are we going to break? What do we break it through this year?
Breakthrough, not necessarily end.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, because that's
more fun.
It's tough.
It's just.
I'd say there's a chance we could get to all-time highs.
Oh my gosh!
What?
Whoa!
So that's a big move from here. It's
you think?
I've kind of laid out a few scenarios, perhaps. I also think it could be a journey. It could even go with like a little bit of a whack and then a launch. It could just go steady. Shoo. If I knew this, guys, I think I would just, obviously, I love precious metals. I've been in it a long time. So I have a lot of, a decent amount of it, let's say that. But I do like it. I am talking my book, obviously. However, I'll tell you, there's been times where I tell my friends or other people, they really ask, I said, maybe now that is not the best time to buy. And there were times like, let's say the first beginning of some of the Trump first term, right? Real estate was great. Other things were amazing, but we're entering a phase of, I actually believe people should be de-risking, right? They should be de-leveraging away from certain marketplaces and stuff, and just kind of tucking it away. It's better than cash. It does quite well. So I think that could be a number that we could see, and if not, certainly at some point. And I think it could go multiples of that this decade is where we're at. I mean, the banks now some of them are calling for 38-ish, and banks don't really give high numbers. And I'll say that they kind of just love to go $1 or $2. When the market moves, they kind of barely go up. So yeah, I'm fairly optimistic on precious metals.
Great take.
I did see one bank revised to 3,500. I was like, okay, so we're gonna do the wheel, guys. We have to say a huge, massive thank you to both Josh and Chase for joining us, and I guess we'll say goodbye to them after we do the spins. We have 3 spins. The first one is for the poster. Good luck, everyone. Yankee's going to put in the names here, so hopefully you put something in the chat and you're entered to win.
Yeah, there's a lot of names. There they are. Look at this.
Wow. So
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O.
Oh, man, I'm in there too, probably.
I'm in there too. We don't want that. We do not want it to land on us.
No, if it lands on Silver Dragons or Yankee, we got to double up the giveaway, so...
On our expense. Okay, that's not good. Let's spin it for the first one, and this one is for the poster, right?
Yes, the grant, President Grant.
President Grant poster.
Right. That's a long spin.
We still don't have drum rolls.
I know. We should. All right, here we go. Striker, Raider. We got Aaron B, Silver Eagle, Don R, Crew Magnum, David Nichols, Silver Tiger 1986, and 4-cylinder. Can 4-cylinder hold on to it? I think so. Yes, 4-cylinder. Gonna win the poster. Congratulations, 4-cylinder. Email Silver Dragons your mailing address, U.S. mailing address. Let's do this. A couple more shuffles. Spin again. This is for a what?
This is the 5-ounce silver.
5
That's
ounce
the grant.
Silver grant.
And yeah, congratulations for silver. It's just silverdragons47@gmail.com. It's also in the description if you want to click on it. Figure out
Brandon King, T Tribes, HD Hill, MA Sandman Slim.
Dale.
Oh, I think it's Dale. Yeah.
Oh.
Dale E. McCombs.
Nice.
Congratulations, Dale. Same with you. Email your mailing address to Silver Dragons. And let's remove him. That's a 5-ounce grant. Now, one more.
One more,
Is
Grant.
that right, Chase?
We're doubling
One
it
more?
up, right, Grant? Or, Chase?
Yeah, one more. We got to be careful with Josh's prediction, because $80 an ounce silver is going to really kill the giveaway situation in SD Bullion.
SD Bullion is so
especially for a
generous to do
5-ounce
these.
coin.
I know. This is uber generous of SD Bullion. Thank you so much for your sponsorship of our community. It's awesome. Daniel Eriks, Liza Jane, Striker, Carlos. No, I think it's John Doe.
John Doe.
John Doe 1776 is the winner. All right, there we go. Our 3 winners.
Right. And of course, as I mentioned before, just email me silverdragons47@gmail.com. And I'll pass along your info to SD Bullion, who is generously providing these giveaways. Thank you, SD Bullion and Chase. And anything you gentlemen would like to wrap up with as we close out the night?
No, just appreciate being on again. There was a lot of questions in there, Yankee. I was going to say a lot of those things. We're getting together Monday night, right? And
Yes.
I defer to James for all that. So come back Monday night.
Yes. Monday night on my
those real
channel.
tough questions, and we'll
Mastering
make
metals.
do all the hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. Good technical deep dive on mastering metals on my channel.
And if you're still in here and you want the grant, sdbullion.com/grant is the only place you will find it until we make it available site-wide on Monday. So make sure you know that URL if you're trying to get it today through Monday.
All right.
And anything from you, Josh? Again, seriously, thank both of you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Any last words?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I missed the last one, so I'm glad I could be part. Glad I could be part of this one. So yeah, thanks to everyone that supports our products through SD Bullion, and we look forward to hopefully bringing out more awesome stuff here later this year.
All right.
What's your X handle?
Yes,
X handle?
X.
Josh Philip Fair
Yeah.
with 1 L in Philip.
There you go.
All right.
Cool.
Well, as everyone knows, Silver Pros here is a bi-weekly live stream. We do it on my channel, Silver Dragons, as well as Yankee Stacking's channel. So make sure to subscribe to him. In 2 weeks, it'll be over on his channel, and you don't want to miss that episode. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And as always, thanks for watching Silver Pros.
Awesome.
Stack like a pro.
Thank you.
Have a great night, everyone.